The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Is Aaron Rodgers the right quarterback for the Niners defense on Monday night? One Jets analyst makes the case that he is exactly what the Jets need. We'll talk about that and much more. It's the Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
We're here with Charles Gorman. Charles, you're about to get into your Uber, which I called for you specifically to leave Don Jose Mexican restaurant. Give us the breakdown on the night. Did you have fun?
I had a good time, Paul. I'm sorry I couldn't stay for long. My parents wanted me to be home at a certain time. I know I'm a grown-ass man, but their house, their rules. People were very nice. The food is good. Anyways, have a good day and stay healthy and God bless.
Charles, thank you for the time.
Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, there he goes. Charles Gorman, everybody. One of one. A legend of our time. Go Jets.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time with us here on a Football Friday, the final weekend of summer, right? And then, of course, we get set for the best Jets season, hopefully, of our lifetime. Jets and the Niners just 10 days away, and we're going to start to break down that game throughout the next 10 days. And joining us right now is a first-time guest. We've been a fan of her work for a very long time on this channel. She is a member of the elite JetsXFactor.com team. We bring on Jets analyst Rivka Boord to the show. Rivka, happy Friday. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Jake. It's great to be on with you.
So we got a lot to talk about, but I want to start with just your backstory. We were talking a little bit off air. Explain to everyone how you got involved with covering the Jets. And for those who maybe aren't aware, Rivka not only covers the Jets, but she's very analytical in her approach. And it makes a lot of sense when you tell the story.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, I took a course in football analytics from Aaron Schatz and Mike Tanier, who are formerly of Football Outsiders. Aaron is the creator of DVOA, if it's a stat you've ever heard of.
Oh, I reference it a lot when talking about how bad Zach Wilson was a year ago, so I know all about DVOA.
Yeah, so Aaron Schatz is the one who created DVOA. So after I took the course, I was interested in just seeing if I could get involved in football analytics, and it's not so realistic maybe as a full-time career, but he told me, just try to find you're a Jets fan, go find sites that cover the Jets and try to maybe start writing about them. So I just randomly applied to several sites, and Robbie was the first one. Robbie Saber was the first one who responded. And so that's how I got my start at Jets X Factor.
Pretty cool. And now look where you are covering the team, which is awesome. So you wrote a story today, and I'm just going to read the headline for everyone. Why Aaron Rodgers is the right quarterback to beat the 49ers. So I'm going to ask you the same question. Why is Aaron Rodgers the right quarterback to beat the 49ers?
I think it's mainly because when you look at most quarterbacks, the bulk of their production and where they're most productive is over the middle of the field, especially in the intermediate middle of the field. That's really where there's most space, the deep, the intermediate crossing routes. You see different places that, statistically speaking, that's the most efficient part of the field. The thing is, Aaron Rodgers, for the last several years of his career, has thrown in the middle of the field far less than the average quarterback. And so the 49ers have Fred Warner in the middle. He's like their cheat code in the middle. He shuts down the middle of the field. But if Rodgers doesn't even look to throw there, it's not really going to throw off his game plan too much to say, okay, let me throw screens, let me throw some deep shots to the outside, because Warner is not his primary focus, that middle of the field. With other quarterbacks, it's like that's where they're looking. Warner shuts it down, and then now they're scrambling to look elsewhere. Rodgers is not even looking.
So, Rivka, we're getting a little feedback from your mic when you're talking there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you off air for a second. If you could restart your StreamYard, and then when you come back in settings, there's a thing that says audio. Just make sure your mic that you want to use for this, if you're using a mic, assuming, is connected, and that should kind of prevent the feedback from popping up. We'll see if that works. I'm seeing all the comments talking about this. So we'll bring Rivka back on in a moment when we get the mic situation going. It does. JJ the plane, I think, nailed it. Sounds like a smoke alarm is going off when she talks. So hopefully there's no fire in Rivka's place of broadcast right now. I don't believe that's the case. Well, I have you all. A reminder that we are indeed 10 days away from the Jet opener on Monday Night Football. And that means our watch party is also 10 days away from right now, baby. We will see you at T-Squared Social in Midtown Manhattan. If you haven't RSVP'd yet, make sure you do. The link to do so is in the description for this video and basically every video I have posted on this channel over the last week and a half, right next to Grand Central Station. So take the train in if you're coming from Long Island or Westchester, Connecticut, or Jersey. It is a great spot. Cannot wait to be with all of you at T-Squared Social in Midtown Manhattan 10 days from right now. Let's see if Rivka's audio is a little better. Rivka, how are you?
So I'm back here. If my audio isn't better, I apologize. I've had some mic issues for the last couple of months.
You got to tell Robbie Sabo to get you a better mic. I mean, he's slacking over there at Jet X Factor.
Yeah, I know. I've tried. I've had ones that don't work. I don't even know. It's just been an issue. So I'm using the regular, AirPods, not a mic. So let's
try this. Can you just use your regular background mic instead of just the AirPods? The AirPods sometimes I've had the same problem when I've tried that too.
So I think there's a little bit background. Like it's not something I can do right now. I have a few people here that I don't think I can just take it off, and I think the audio will be worse.
All right. It's still beeping. So I'll just ask a quick question.
Oh, it's beeping?
Yeah, like when you talk, there's like a fire alarm almost going off in the background.
Okay, you know what? Then if you could put me out one more time, let me see. I'm just going to go to a different location.
All right, let's see if we can get this to work here, folks. This is called producing on the fly. You know what's funny? There was no beeping before the show started, and then the show started, and all the beeping began. Someone wrote a she in a subway. Well, this is a great start to a show here, folks. Young Connor Long is online right now. Connor, before you take my job, I'm going to teach you a lesson. When it's live, always be ready to roll, all right?
Yeah, I learned that lesson from, Ryan Rucco. I met him at broadcasting camp earlier this summer, and he said something very, very similar. But yes, a fellow Jet X Factor colleague here on the program.
That's right. That's right. All right.
Yep.
Thanks for helping me stall, Connor. I appreciate you. If you missed the first show, I talked about some comments that Damian Woody made in regards to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. And as Rivka gets set to come back on, I'm going to play you the Damian Woody comments. And if you want my full take on them, check out the first stream that we did earlier today.
It just seems like people are not giving Aaron Rodgers his due respect. I'm just speaking strictly on the field. Aaron Rodgers is 81-10 when the defense holds the opponent to 20 points or less. 81-10 throughout his whole career. That tells you everything you need to know, to me, in my opinion, about how well, all-time great in Aaron Rodgers. And when he has a defense backing him up, remember, this Jets defense is going to be the best defense that Aaron Rodgers has ever played with, okay? They're going to hold people down week in and week out. That's been the one thing that's been missing with this Jets, has been atrocious quarterback play. The defense has always held them down. Can you imagine this Jets defense playing with a lead?
Yes.
With an all-time great at quarterback. I'm just saying, Aaron Rodgers being back and healthy with the Jets is a big effing deal.
No question about it. 81-10 is the stat for his career. And actually, that came from Darius, our researcher. You brought the stat in.
Yes.
He confirmed it. And then he actually sent me a note saying, if you only go back to 2016, so whatever that is, the last 9 years, that number becomes 35-2. Aaron Rodgers is 35-2 when the defense holds the opposition under 20 points. Last year, with the worst offense in history, the Jets defense allowed an average of 20.9 points per game. So, I mean, they're right there with basically no help at all.
I love how that stat is now becoming the stat all the analysts are referencing. I've been saying it for 2 years on this channel. Damian Woody saw it somewhere and then brought it to ESPN for them to confirm it. He saw it on the show. Now let's get Damian Woody on this show, baby. Make that happen. Anyway, let's see if we could get Rivka back on. But wait, hold on a second. Hold on now. Rivka, you're going to have to stay right where you are, folks, because guess what? Felix is here, and he just made it rain. How about to the tune of 20 memberships?
Felix Campos, he wonderful, wonderful guy. He gives a lot of gift memberships and loves the Jake Asman Show.
Take the money.
Here we go, baby. It is raining channel memberships. Oh, yeah, here we go. If you hear your name called, you are a channel member. Thank you to Felix for making the show worthwhile already. Gio Sanchez, 8-Path Music, Rich, James Brown, Matt Feldman, Ed Betancourt, Jerry Powers, James Bender, Jedi Mind One, Selaz, Rocky Jets, Samuel Spiradolis. That's a tough name. Ray 315. You are all channel members. There's no way that was 20. There's got to be some names that are not loaded yet. That was 20? No way. I've been doing this a long time, folks. There's no way that was 20 names. As more come in, because I don't think it all loaded yet, we will get to the remaining names. It's only showing me 13 names so far. Anyway, let's get back to our conversation with Rivka, assuming we actually could hear her this time. Rivka, thanks for trying to figure the tech issue out. How are you? Unmute your mic. Check 1, 2. Give us a little ABC.
ABC.
Now you're very low. Let's see if we could boost you. Let's see what we can do here. Try now. Give us your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets.
Can you hear me?
Very faintly. Hold on. Chat. Let's see if you guys can hear Rivka a little better now. Go ahead.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. I think it's passable.
Okay, fine. I'm
there we
sorry.
go.
I really have to get this worked out. It's literally been 2 months. Okay. Yeah, so
when we last had you were breaking down, just basically start from the top. Why specifically, you wrote the story today at jetxfactor.com, why Rodgers is the perfect quarterback to go up against the style of defense the Niners have.
Okay, so the Niners, again, the focal point of the Niners defense runs through Fred Warner, middle linebacker, right? Plays the middle of the field. Most quarterbacks, that's where they look for their big plays. Again, I think people are still saying that my audio isn't very good. So I'll just do my best to talk louder. Is that better?
You're good. You're good. I boosted you up. You just be you, Rivka, all right? Let it rip.
Okay, so most quarterbacks look in the middle of the field. Like the efficiency in general is much, much higher in the middle of the field. It's where a lot of big plays come. The 49ers shut down the middle of the field with Fred Warner. The Jets don't usually, but Aaron Rodgers, in general, over the last few years of his career at least, has thrown over the middle much less than the average quarterback, and in large part because he wants to avoid turnovers. Because what happens is, even though the middle of the field is the best place to gain a lot of yards, it's also the place where the most turnovers happen, the most interceptions happen. And so Rodgers likes to throw. He likes to throw to his screen passes and his short, quick stuff on the outside, and then he likes to throw his deep balls on the outside. If you think of him, all those beautiful deep balls that he dropped in the bucket on the outside. And so that has nothing. That's just not the teeth of the 49ers defense. It's not to say, that the 49ers defense is terrible on the outside. It's just that the place where the 49ers really stymie opposing offenses the most, that's where Rodgers not even looking to throw there.
Interesting. So what do you think the Jets' game plan will be specifically to try and take advantage of some of these matchups you're talking about?
Well, there's a couple of different things. With Mike Williams, it's a shame that Mike Williams is not going to be up to full, at full strength yet, because honestly, Garrett Wilson against Charvarius Ward said he's going to shadow Garrett Wilson. And I'm not saying Garrett Wilson can't beat him, that it's fully possible that he can. Garrett Wilson's a great receiver, but Charvarius Ward had a very good year last year, particularly in guarding the deep ball. I think it was something like opponents went was it 3 for 19 or even less than that? It was like a ridiculously low number of deep passes that were completed on Charvarius Ward. But on the other side is Diamador Lenore, who's 5'10" or 5'11" against Mike Williams. I like that those chances of completing a contested deep ball, just with that mismatch. So I think that the Jets, at least at some point, will try to get some big passes to Mike Williams on that side of the field. Again, not to say that Rodgers won't target Garrett Wilson deep or that Wilson can't beat Ward. I just think that matchup is particularly advantageous. And so that's something he will look at throughout the game. The rest of the time, Rodgers will take what the defense gives him. Again, he likes to throw those quick screens and quick, like RPO. You know, we saw against the Giants last year in the preseason when he threw first play, the Giants come out with a pressure look. The Jets are supposed to be running the ball. Rodgers checks into a screen and, you know, throws it out to Garrett Wilson, who's they sees off coverage, sees a guy playing a few yards back. It's like, I'm going to throw it to Garrett Wilson. I'll take an easy 7-8 yards, whatever it is, and we'll get into second and short and move the sticks. So I think the Jets, in terms of the receiving and the run game, what their goal is going to be is to play a ball control game, not necessarily to to air it out and to beat, yes, Rodgers will take his deep shots, but I don't think this is going to be Rodgers drops back to back pass 40 times and they're throwing the ball over the field. I see it as being a ball control game, short, quick passes, stay ahead of the sticks, that kind of thing.
A lot of Breece Hall on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually expecting that for the season in general. I think a lot of Jet fans, or not necessarily Jet fans, I think a lot of national people, like I've heard some people say, oh, Breece Hall is risky in fantasy because Aaron Rodgers might throw the ball too much. No, the Jets want to run the football a lot. So I'm fully expecting Breece Hall to be the focal point. And it's actually interesting because we're talking about the San Francisco and Christian McCaffrey and how they want to run the football. I mean, the Jets' combination of left tackle and running back is almost as good. Like, yeah, maybe McCaffrey's the number one running back in the game, but Breece Hall's number two. Maybe Trent Williams is the best left tackle in the game if he plays, but Tyron Smith is certainly top 3 or 4. And so it'll be an interesting matchup of two teams that really would like to set up their game with running the football.
Let's talk about just the roster overall, Rivka. Your thoughts on this 53-man roster? I mean, are you as confident as it seems like a lot of Jet fans are on the just overall talent of this team this year?
So I tend to lean, I'll tell you what it is. Whenever I find myself getting excited as a Jets fan, I always check myself because I remember what happened last year. And, and it's just it's hard to be so confident. But honestly, when you looked at the Jets before they got Rodgers, the thought process was, what did they need? They needed a quarterback and an offensive line. They got the quarterback last year, went out after 4 plays. This year, they finally realized, hey, we can't just ignore the offensive line and expect Rodgers to do everything for us. So maybe it took a Rodgers Achilles tear for them to realize we have to actually address the offensive line properly. And then, beyond that, I mean, you look at it, is their receiving core as deep as it could be? No. Are they a little bit thin without Reddick? Yeah. Again, we can nitpick on the parts of the roster, but I'm sure you can with every team. I could start with the 49ers, by the way. There are places to nitpick on their roster too, even though most people rank it as the best in football. And so if you look at just from that perspective, I feel like assuming Rodgers stays healthy, I think I'm about as confident as I've ever been or ever could be in the Jets roster.
What do you think of the stat? Aaron Rodgers 81-10 when the defense holds opponents to 20 points or fewer, and the fact that, as Mike Greenberg pointed out in that clip I played today, 36-2 since 2016 with that same exact stat.
So the one thing that I found very interesting about that stat, besides the fact that obviously it's outrageous, is that that means that 61% of the time his defense has given up 20 or more points, and only 39% of the time has his defense actually given up 20 points or fewer. And that might actually explain a little bit why Aaron Rodgers has not won another Super Bowl, even though despite his dominance all those years, because it takes more than just a great quarterback to win a championship. The thing is that the Jets have that defense. All those stats about the Jets averaging giving up 20.9 points per game last year, they ignore the fact, first of all, that they gave up a punt return touchdown. They got, they gave up a pick 6 at the end of the half against Miami. But besides that, the average starting, so many of the points the Jets gave up, the other team's drives started in the Jets territory. Because of just the offensive futility, turning the ball over, bad, things like that. And so when you look at it, the Jets defense honestly was better than that stat even shows. And that's why they ranked 3rd in overall in defensive DVOA last year, because that shows just how efficient they were, independent of let's say where they started on field and things like that. And so, even if Rodgers is 80% of the Rodgers that we know, and again, 80% of the Rodgers in 2022, we could talk about that, but we're talking about Rodgers in 2022 before he broke his thumb, because his numbers before he broke his thumb were actually mostly on par with what we expect from Rodgers, and then he broke his thumb and everything went haywire. So if we're talking about the Rodgers from before he broke his thumb, even if the Jets get 80% of that, that's still good enough with that defense to win certainly a very large number of games.
The other big story hanging over this team right now is the Haason Reddick situation. What are your thoughts on where we're at with that? Do you expect Haason Reddick to show up to the Jets facility early next week so he could potentially play in week 1 next Monday night against the Niners?
So until he requested the trade, I thought that he would eventually report. I just thought he was biding his time and that he would show up week 1 because ultimately he doesn't have, there's nothing in it for him not to. But when I heard him request a trade, I understood that it was just a leverage play and it was the last trick in his bag. But ultimately that told me that he's extremely locked in. He's dug in his heels. And so I hope he shows up. I think it would be, it would be the smart thing to do to show up, but I'm not counting on it.
When it comes to this defense without Reddick, Rivka, what are they without Reddick? Are they a top 10 defense, top 5? Your thoughts on where they rank, assuming Haason Reddick is not there for week 1, and what would they be if he's not there, let's say, for a lot of the season? I don't think it gets to that point, but just your thoughts on the type of defense they still are without Reddick.
So it's very hard to know, and I'll take you a little bit into what I was thinking last year before the season. We're even starting in 2022. They went into 2022 with Carl Lawson and John Franklin Myers as their starting edge defenders, and we knew what JFM was, especially if they keep him on the edge, right? He's a really good run defender on the edge. He's a solid pass rusher outside, certainly not great. He's a much better pass rusher inside. Then you had Carl Lawson, who they're hoping would come back from from his injuries and get back to his previous level. Now, JFM started, was his usual player. Carl Lawson was about an average edge rusher in 2022. Like, he wasn't great. He wasn't terrible. He had times where he played well. He had times where he didn't. They kind of rotated. Jermaine Johnson was okay as a rookie. He played like 30% of the snaps, wasn't great. Michael Clemens played 30% of the snaps, wasn't great. Bryce Huff was outstanding, but he only played 16% of the snaps. And so you kind of had that edge group in 2022, which was by no means elite, and yet they had I think they finished 6th in defensive DVOA. You look at last year, they come into the season with, they were hoping Lawson would be their starter again. Lawson hurt his back and was basically irrelevant during the season. Yep. They came in with John Franklin Myers on one side and Jermaine Johnson on the other side. They start giving Jermaine Johnson 65% of the snaps. There was no reason from 2022 to trust that Jermaine Johnson would suddenly become a great player make such a big leap from 2022 to 2023. And the first 3 weeks he didn't. He had like one pressure over the first 3 weeks of the season, and then suddenly he exploded. And then he became a really, I don't want to say he's like a top 10 edge rusher or anything like that, but he became an above average player. And so kind of the question for the Jets really is, and obviously Bryce Huff continued what he did in 40% of the snaps versus 16%, which, as much as many Jets fans expected that, it was hard to expect that level of efficiency in such an increased role. So the Jets kind of came into the season with some unknowns, but then ultimately they answered their questions, and their edge unit became really, really solid, even though coming to the season, it wasn't so clear where they were going to get their production. And so you look at it this year, and you have Jermaine Johnson on one side, who at this point we trust to be at least an above average edge rusher, right? He may not be elite. He had 7.5 sacks last year. Maybe he takes another leap, maybe he doesn't, but we can at least trust his baseline of play. On the other side, if they don't have Reddick, the question is who's going to step up. Now, obviously, Will McDonald is a big question mark. I like the player. I like his potential. But from what we've seen from so far, he's pretty one-dimensional, right? All he's shown that he can win with is a spin move. And so the question is, is someone else going to step up in that role? Is Tack McKinley going to revitalize his career? I'm really down on Michael Clemens, and I have been for a while, but can Clemens at least give enough run defense that, that kind of takes care of that part of the issue? Can they get from Brandon McGregor something, they can get something from him? How are they going to utilize their edge rushers? Because if you see Clemens in there playing 60% of the snaps, their edge rusher is going to be bad. It's just going to be that's just a reality. Michael Clemens is one of the least effective pass rushing edge rushers in the NFL. And so I'm not saying that I certainly think that their depth is quite thin without Reddick. I'm not saying that they're definitely lost, because I think we've seen the Jets make it work with without elite talent on the edge, or they've made people look better than they are, or they've kind of made it work. But I definitely think for this defense to reach its ceiling, they need Reddick. In terms of where exactly they rank, I think they'll still be a top 10 defense. I can't say top 5.
I think it's fair. I think it's a fair breakdown there. Now, this is weird. So earlier in the show, Felix Campos, he gifted 20 memberships. He said, "What's up, Jake? Let's get it started." The rain emojis. He knew what was coming. He was ready to go. Here's the thing, though. So he gifted 20 memberships. Only 13 came through. And as my guy Nate in the chat writes in, Felix Comps with the ghost gift, that's because randomly HC0023 was gifted a membership by Felix. Only 14 memberships are showing as gifted by Felix. There's still 6 ghost memberships that have yet to appear. So I don't know if this is just a Felix thing or if YouTube has ghost memberships and nothing's loading, but if you gifted a membership and you don't hear me shout it out, it's because I'm not seeing it. So we have some ghost memberships being gifted right now. So someone else gift a membership and let's test it out. There could be more ghosts coming, I'm hearing some reports of that. Anyway, let's talk now just overall about the expectations for this team, Rivka. First time I've had you on the show. What are your reasonable expectations for the team the Jets should be at the bare minimum in 2024?
I mean, to me, I don't see. Even if I say if they stay healthy, if Rodgers stays healthy, forget about Tyron Smith and Mike Williams. Meaning, even if those two guys get hurt, if Rodgers stays healthy, it is very hard for me to see. I mean, again, we could talk about Quinn Williams and Sauce Gardner, but assuming the guys who are the most injury prone tend to get hurt, but they get reasonable health otherwise, and Rodgers stays healthy, I can't see them winning fewer than 10 games. I just can't. It's very, very hard for me to see that. I mean, again, it could happen, but we've seen the Jets win enough, nail biters to know that when the offense is not at its full strength, the defense can still pick them up, and to know now that with the offensive line that they built and seeing what Breece Hall did without an offensive line, knowing that the offense should be able to pick up the defense at some points if either one falters. And so, I mean, again, call me just a homer, call me a big Jets fan, whatever it is. I have a hard time seeing fewer than 10 wins. And I know a lot of people are saying that's their ceiling. I mean, I think that's a little, it just comes from a place of hatred of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean, 10 can't be their ceiling if they won 7 with a traffic cone for 17 games at quarterback last year. There's just no way. Like 10 to me has to be the floor given what we saw. Like barring catastrophic injuries all over the team, if you tell me Aaron plays 15 games, which I think is realistic, they're winning at least 10 games. Like that has to be the bare minimum of expectation level for the regular season. And then they got to win a playoff game. Like you didn't bring in Aaron Rodgers to go 10-7 and then lose in the wild card round. Like win the division, win a playoff game. That to me should be the minimum expectation for what this team is capable of doing. And I hope it's beyond that. I think the ceiling's the Super Bowl with this roster, but I'm right there with you. Anyone who's saying 10 wins is the ceiling is just a Jet hater.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've been, one of the things about being a writer is that a lot of times you kind of watch what other people have to say about the team it gives you ideas about what to write about or just what to respond to. And so I've watched a bunch of previews and talking about the Jets from all over the place. And consistently the theme is basically, is Rodgers going to hit an age wall? Is Rodgers going to get hurt again? They're relying on a lot of overly injured players, things like that. Like that comes up consistently. And so, I guess I'm bringing that up just to kind of be fair, maybe to try to, maybe level out the homerism a little bit.
Screw the haters. Screw them, Rivka. All right.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, absolutely. I really, really believe that there are 2 reasons for this. Number 1 is the idea of same old Jets. And number 2 is just that people hate Rodgers so much that they want to be able to say that he's going to fail.
That's 100% true. You're spot on with that. If you guys have a question for Rivka to answer, write it in super chats. We'll cut the line. I believe the super chats are still working properly. There's no ghost super chats. Tennessee Heisman earlier wrote, Reddick's team with another video. He must be lonely. I'm telling you, he's been given some terrible advice because I don't see the win. He's not going to get more money in the future by not being with the Jets and playing well this year. It's why I think he shows up early next week. I don't know if he plays week 1, Rivka, but I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up just so we could get his game check and he exhausted all his options, shows up. He knows he needs to play well in order to have any opportunity of being a free agent and getting paid another big contract before he reaches the point of no return.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I would just say is because he's getting bad advice, I would expect him to continue getting bad advice.
Sure, too.
I mean, Dandy is his agent is CD Lamb's agent, so he just got CD Lamb paid. He's going to think that much more that if I got CD Lamb paid, I could get Reddick paid too. The difference between this is the thing though, the difference between Reddick and all these other players who have been looking for contracts absent Trent Williams, but even Trent Williams, they're all like, I mean, among the tops at their positions. And I mean, look, I'm a little bit lower on Haason Reddick than most people are. I see him more as a top 15 edge rusher than a top 10. I'm a little bit less, not as high. But the other thing is players like CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk, they're 25, 26 years old. Reddick is going to be 30 in a few weeks. And he's a speed rusher. And so he relies a lot on his speed around the edge. I know I've had people fight me on this and say he's not just a speed rusher, but that's his primary move. What he usually tries to do is bend around the edge. And so if he's doing that and he's going to be 30, he just doesn't, his age-wise, he just doesn't have the same leverage that these younger players do, because these younger players, the teams want to lock them up for multiple years, whereas Reddick, realistically speaking, could very well end up being an edge rusher who's going on a year-by-year basis after this year.
100%. And I just think at the end of the day, like, they took the calculated risk bringing him in. It was a 3rd-round pick 3 drafts from now. They knew they could get a comp pick if he was basically a hired gun for a year. And I think they thought that they would be able to adjust his contract when he would show up to camp, and he never did. And I think the Reddick agency gave him bad advice. Oh, don't show up. They got an owner who's going to be desperate to just say, hey, Joe Douglas, get it done. They have, a huge void now with JFM being jettisoned for nothing. And I think they overplayed their hand, and I think they're out of options. So, yes, he's been getting bad advice, but you wonder if at a certain point the player just says, look, I got to get paid. I'm costing myself millions of dollars. There's still $14.5 million for me to make this year. That's still a lot of money to most human beings on planet Earth.
I mean, look, that's the way I see it. I've said all along, I really think that what happened was when he was traded, he gave the Jets a verbal agreement to come in because they had John Franklin Myers, so they didn't need him. At the time, he was more of a luxury. Then they traded John Franklin Myers. He's like, oh, now I'm a necessity. Now you have to pay me. And so he reneged on it. That's what I think happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chat is going wild for Rivka because she is a member of the 4% female demographic. Rivka's often in the chat. Have you been gifted a membership before? I'm sure you have, right? I've seen you in here.
No? I haven't. Oh. Yeah, I haven't been in here as often in recent because I started my own podcast in the last couple of months, and so I've been busy with that and just with other thing. I haven't been in the chat as often. I watched them a lot, not live. I watch them afterwards. I'm not in the chat as often, but no, I have never been gifted a membership.
Well, let's change that. All right, gift Rivka a membership. She's got gift receipts on. Someone make it rain. It might take 3 days for us to figure out if you got one based on what's happening here with the YouTube gift membership program on this stream. But maybe the 4% female demo is going up to 5 after the show. We will find out. Snowball's got a question for you, Rivka. And if you have a question for Rivka, write it in the chat. We'll bring it up on the screen. Obviously, super chats will go first. Thank you, everyone, for your support. There's 300 of you watching live. There's only 90 likes. Let's get those numbers up. Milk thumbs, the whole thing. Hit the like button. Helps the channel grow. Snowball wants to know what's your confidence level in Nathaniel Hackett.
Well, let me preface this by saying that when I found out that Nathaniel Hackett is Paul Hackett's son, I was like, it figures. Like I started out as a Jet fan, full-time Jets fan in 2004. And so Paul Hackett was their offensive coordinator. And I remember just the run pass time after time. And then when I saw Nathaniel Hackett and how he coordinates, I was like, oh, okay, makes sense. My confidence in Nathaniel Hackett is below 0. But I mean, I think that the Jets are relying on Rodgers to run the offense, and we as fans basically have to root for the same thing because, I mean, it's not just what we saw last year because you could say, okay, the Jets and their lack of talent. Well, you saw in Detroit, in Denver the year before. I mean, Sean Payton came out afterward and hit, really, criticized Nathaniel Hackett heavily. And what kind of went on under the radar after last season is that Sean Payton was 100% right about what he said about Nathaniel Hackett. And so, I mean, look, he's here because of Rodgers. They got him because of Rodgers. Rodgers likes him. I guess Rodgers likes calling an offense, whatever it is. I hope Rodgers is not listening to this because he seems to know everything that everyone says about him. But no, my confidence level in Nathaniel Hackett is very, very low.
Yep. I think it comes down to what's your confidence level in Aaron Rodgers, if you're going to ask what your confidence level is in Nathaniel Hackett. Now, it is now confirmed. We have ghost memberships being thrown around in this show. This is actually a historic Jake Asman show now. Rick Kent has gifted 5 channel memberships. I don't know who got them. It's not coming up. At least with the first 13 memberships from Felix, it said who got them. And then there was a random ghost membership sprinkled in 5 minutes later. Now there's nothing for Rick. So, Rick, we appreciate you gifting 5, but I'm seeing ghosts like Sam Darnold did all those years ago because I have no idea. I don't know. Nate is calling Rick Casper Kent. The ghost membership show, folks. One for the history books. Jay Quest wants to know who douses Salah with the Gatorade when we win the Super Bowl, Rivka?
See, my first instinct was to say Sauce, but I feel like Sauce is more likely to stand on the side and watch. I'm trying to think. Who's the most likely to do it?
I have 3 that stood out. Quincy and Quinn Williams.
Quincy for sure. Quinton, I'm not as sure, but Quincy, yeah, definitely.
And here's an underrated one that I could see doing it. Solomon Thomas, who was with Salah in San Fran. He's got that high energy personality. I could see him not being on the field if the Jet defense is on the field trying to close out a Super Bowl. The fact that we're even having this conversation is hilarious. I love August 30th optimism, but I could see Salah being the one to do it. How about that?
Yeah, no, that's definitely good. I mean, what I would love is just to see like AVT and Joe Tippmann do it together. Like, the two, like the offensive linemen, but like Tippmann just, with the mullet and everything, it just makes me laugh. And so like seeing Joe Tippmann do it would just, I don't know, would just be funny.
We have some breaking Jets news. So, ladies and gentlemen, I actually get to play this, and it actually is real news.
Breaking sports news on the Jake Asman Show.
To let us know what happened, we bring on Connor Long. Connor, you were the first I saw to write it in the chat, so you could be the one to break it to the audience. What happened with the Jets?
Appreciate it. According to Aaron Wilson, the Jets have brought Jason Brownlee back. So the Jets have brought Jason Brownlee back. That's all it said. Doesn't know if it's on the active roster. I'm assuming it's on the practice squad, though. But that is the breaking sports news.
All right, Connor, we'll come back to you when you have more. Thank you for the time. All right, Jason Brownlee probably to the practice squad if they're bringing him back.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I don't know if anyone watched my podcast the other day with Robbie Sabo. I was adamant that Jason Brownlee should not make the active 53 because I'm not a fan of his game. But bringing him back on the practice squad and dumping Lance McCutcheon would be a good idea.
Rick Kent goes according to Zach Wilson. No, according to Aaron Wilson, who, for those who followed my Houston career, I did a Houston podcast with Aaron last year. He is a good time. He's a big time reporter in the Houston area. So if he's reporting it, he probably knows Brownlee's agent who got him that story, and Brownlee will be back with the Jets, which is cool. Hawk says Michael Clemens will pour the Gatorade on Salah after a 9-sack season. I hope you're right, Hawk.
I mean, if Michael Clemens gets 9. Yeah, if Michael Clemens gets 9 sacks, I don't know who he's been playing.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Let's see. Comments, questions, super chats. I don't even know if the super chats are coming through. Could someone send a $1.99 super chat so we can see if there's ghost super chats or if it's just memberships? Right on cue. We don't even need a $1.99. Genergy with a $20 spot. Ladies and gentlemen, Genergy, this is for you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to this republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rivka, we have a baddie in the building tonight. I'm curious about Rivka's origin story. How did you become a Jets fan? How did you get your start in sports journalism? So you told the sports journalism aspect at the beginning, but how about your start as a Jet fan? Was it passed down in your family? Give us the backstory there.
Okay, so I should first say there's 2 sides of my family. My mom is not a sports fan at all, but her dad, my grandfather, is a huge Jets fan, and then my dad is a Giants fan. So there was kind of like that. But the thing is, my grandfather taught me football. So he started teaching me about football when I was about 5 years old. So I kind of casually for the next few years didn't really follow the team, but I basically knew what was going on. When I was 9 was when I started watching the Jets. I would actually go over to my grandparents every week and watch a Jet game. I remember when they would play like at night, it was like a whole think, and can I stay up past my bedtime to, or stay up late or be out who knows what time to watch the Jets. So yeah, it is it passed down generationally to me. My grandfather was a Jets fan from the Titans.
That's awesome.
Titans era, and that's a Jets fan.
Fantastic. All right, Gusbuster Hotline is open. Let's say hello for the very first time as a newly cemented 56-year-old man. We say hello to the great Bob from Vermont.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course.
Hello, Bob. You have to unmute your mic. Have you forgotten how to do this in your old age?
I'm sorry I had a phone call. I'm sorry, Rivka. Nice to meet you. First time I met you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. First time.
I know you're from New York. You got a New York accent, right?
Originally, yes, from Brooklyn.
What part of New York? Brooklyn?
From Brooklyn, yeah.
Oh, I'm from the Bronx and Queens. So, yeah, my player this year that's going to bust out is Brennan Allen. He's going to bust out for him and Brees Hall are going to, be thunder and lightning. That's how it's going to be because they're great. They're going to be awesome. Aaron Rodgers, like you said, he doesn't have to throw that many passes. We'll have a combined game. We don't have to go 50 passes and not very many running yards. I got a new haircut today. Do you see it?
Oh, look at you, you handsome son of a gun.
Guess who gave it to me today?
Who gave it to you?
Desiree.
Ah, good old Desiree.
Yeah, we got it. My brother got one too. We had to get one.
Did Desiree wish you a happy birthday? Did she know?
Yes, I talked to her today.
Oh.
I thought it is in 8th grade. I cried when I heard that. I knew her for like 8 years already. Because her daughter was a baby when I first met her. She was pregnant with her when I first met her. So we're doing good. And
R&R says Bobby's a broken record. Ask about another player.
Well, R&R, that's my player. Who's your player? Okay. I mentioned 3 players in that whole sentence. I mentioned Aaron Rodgers, Brees Hall, and Brendan Allen. So what one play did I do? I did 3, okay? So put that in your pipe and smoke it. So that's
yeah.
It. Yeah.
Get his ass, Bobby. Well done.
Did I mention 3 plays in that whole sentence? I'm from New York. I could talk fast. You know me.
You could talk.
So guess what I'm appearing on tonight? Do you even know what I'm appearing on?
Oh, I know.
And Rivka, how do you like your coworker? The 13-year-old kid, he is like a genius. He's like Doogie Howser. You ever watch that show, Doogie Howser? He's smart kid, man. At that age, I wasn't even doing anything when I was 13. I delivered papers. I delivered Newsday. So, yeah. And guess who he had on his show today? You wouldn't believe who he had on the show today.
Who do you have on?
What's that Albert's name? Not Mel Albert. The other guy, Albert. No, not Fat Albert. The guy who does the announcing the sports. What's it? Like Ken Albert. Yeah. I like him. He's good. He's
Kenny Albert.
Kenny Albert. Yeah, Kenny's great, isn't he? Yeah, he does the Jets. Yeah. Doesn't he do the Jets, he said?
No, he works for Fox. He does the Rangers on radio. He does the NHL.
Yeah, that's right. He does the NFL on Fox.
Yeah.
When you get my age, you forget a lot of many stuff there. I got.
You're an old fart.
I am. Played some fart song. It was nice to meet you, Rivka. You're a nice lady. First time I met you. So, I hope I don't scare you because I talk too much. Jake knows that already.
Oh,
Jake
I know that.
Hampton today, doesn't he? All in a nice shirt today. He looks
handsome. Bob. I wanted to look good on the day after your birthday.
Well, you always look good. You don't have to prove anything.
Thanks, Bob.
You're a handsome son of a gun. What can I tell
appreciate it.
And then you have a great holiday weekend, Rivka. And you too, Jake. So you're not have a show tomorrow? You got to have a show tomorrow?
It's going to be a surprise. You'll find out.
Well, if you have a show, I have a show after yours. That's how it works.
Bobby.
Bye, everybody.
Your first call as a 56-year-old lived up to the hype. Thank you.
Well, you know, I need to walk more to survive unless Jake is going live. Gotta elevate my leg on Bobby.
Rivka, you've officially made it. You survived the Bobby Midnight call. What are your thoughts?
Watch your segment. I watch your segment with Robbie every week, so I'm you know that I'm not intimidated.
Well, you're doing a tremendous job. We'll do one more call with you, then we'll let you go. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Let's go to the aforementioned 13-year-old superstar, Connor Long. Hello, Connor.
Jake, Rivka, how are you amazing people doing today?
We're good.
I just want to let you know there has been an update. The Jets have waived Lance McCutcheon, and then they gave Brownlee a spot on the practice squad. But I wanted to get your thoughts on Isaiah Davis. He's someone who caught my eye throughout the preseason. I know all the hypes around Braylon Allen, as Bobby said, thunder and lightning with Breece and Braylon this season. Rivka, what do you think is going to stop Davis from producing very high quality numbers? Is it the snap counts, or is there anything else that you're noticing in his game?
So I'll just say I love Isaiah Davis. Honestly, when the Jets, I know Braylon Allen is the big talk, but I had written an article a few months ago saying that really in an ideal world, Isaiah Davis should be their number 2 running back, because I like, especially with Breece Hall being the home run hitter, I like the guy who's just going to take again, there's 3 yards ahead of him. He'll just take the 3 yards. He's not necessarily going to break off a 40 or 50 yard run, but he'll see that hole and just hit it every time. And Allen is not quite as consistent in that because he's also looking for the bigger, he has some combination of it. Yeah, because sometimes he'll just lower his shoulder and just bull over someone, but he's a little bit more like Breece, also looking for that big play. Davis is that guy who will just hit the hole and take the yards in front of him. That being said, as you said, the primary obstacle for him is just playing time. Yes. Assuming Breece and Braylon stay healthy, Isaiah Davis is just not going to see that many snaps, and he'll probably have to make his mark primarily on special teams. I assume he will be one of their 2 returners back. I don't know for sure. It seems like Xavier Gibson is going to be one of them on the kick return, so I don't know if they're going to prefer Corley or Davis. My guess would be Davis, just because he's not an every down player and it's less risky, but then again, Gibson is more involved in the offense. I don't know. I think but that's just my answer. I think that's the primary thing that's just going to hold him back is, look, again, I love Isaiah Davis. The only issue I had with the pick whatsoever is just that he was blocked from playing time just by what's ahead of him. So I would have preferred to take a receiver in that spot. But again, love the player. I think he's a great player.
Now, is he Abanikanda? He made the Jets' initial 53. Could you see something where Cowboys, I know they signed Dalvin Cook, but they're still a team. They were one of a few teams that were, quote, a team of interest in Izzy. Could you see something where maybe Jets try Izzy out for a few games? Maybe he's inactive for the first 4 weeks or so, and then the Jets look to deal him, or do you think he's on this roster for good?
I think once they kept him, he's probably on the roster for good. Okay. At least now that he hasn't been traded, like a couple, we're a few days out and he hasn't been traded. I think that they plan to keep him for depth. And they did carry 4 running backs last year, and Izzy was inactive a bunch. So I imagine that barring injury, he will be inactive a lot. Is it possible that they would deal him at the deadline if everyone's healthy and everything is, and everything's going well? It's possible, but I think they're keeping him around as insurance in case one of their backs gets hurt.
Jake, Rivka, appreciate it.
Connor, we appreciate you. Keep up the great work. Connor says he's going into 8th grade. He was asked, are you going to 8th grade or 9th grade? I love it, Connor. Let's go. Connor's earliest Jet awesome. Memory is Josh McCown playing quarterback. That's how young he is. Hopefully he gets to see some real football this year. That'd be nice.
Yeah, mine is Doug Bryan missing 2 field goals. That's not my earliest memory. That was my.
Yeah, no, those Pennington teams, like that was my era growing up too, into Sanchez and my high school, college years, all that. Final question here from Derek Q. Rivka, do you eat chicken and pasta?
Depends what type of chicken and what type of pasta. If you don't know, I eat kosher, so if it doesn't have cheese or anything like that on it, chicken pasta is fine.
Okay. Very unique answer to a question that references one of our worst callers, Gary. in Fort Worth. Anyway, Rivka, great job. Been a fan of your work for a while. Continued success over at Jets X Factor. Good luck with the podcast, and I'm sure we'll get you on a bunch throughout the season.
Okay, well, thanks for having me, Jake. I apologize to everyone for the mic issues. I will get a normal mic soon.
Rivka Boord, check it in. We got through it, people. Between Rivka's mic at the beginning, ghost channel memberships, it's been a wild show. And we really haven't even taken too many calls yet. So let's do it right now. Gusbuster hotline is wide open, baby. Go to gusbuster.com right now and get yourself the world's best umbrella, 15% off with promo code Jake. We say hello to Mr. Weed, who starts off this next segment here. What's up, Mr. Weed?
How you doing?
I'm good, Weed. How are you?
Not too bad. Just having a good day.
Yeah?
Wish it was a little bit nicer out, but you know. Oh, man, Jake, we are about a week away. A week away. Just about.
Do you feel the magic in the air, Weed?
You have no idea, Jake. I can feel it. It's sparkling all over the place.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. I can't wait to see everybody at T-Squared. It's going to be a blast.
Did you see my sponsor for the first show today? The gummies? THC gummies?
I did not. I came in a little bit late. I came in like 10, 15 minutes late.
All right. Well, go back and watch the first show. All right. And check it out. Because I have a new sponsor that is right up your alley.
I'm proud of you, Jake.
Thank you, Mr.
Expanding into better areas.
I'll tell you what. You know me, Weed. I'm a capitalist. I'm on the money phone, baby.
You're an anomalous capital fish. I know.
Weed, I hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. I would ask what you're doing, but I have a funny feeling this is all you're doing right here, right?
I'm actually cooking. I took a break. You know, I'm coming back and forth listening to the show. So.
Yep. Weed, thank you very much. Enjoy it, all right?
See you, Jake.
Ladies and gentlemen, Weed the people. Weed's the best. So we talked about this the other day on one of the shows. March Madness this year, we're going to be doing an Asmaniac bracket of the best callers. I'm putting together a selection committee. Tom Ace is the co-chair of it. I think we might have enough to do a full 64. Like, honestly, we definitely have enough for like 32. Like 32 strong callers. But we might be able to push it to 64 because think about it. By March of next year, we're going to go through a full season where the Jets are going to be coming off a season where they're the Super Bowl champs. You know how many more views I'm going to get? More Asmaniacs we're going to create? Think about that. Ladies and gentlemen, Lane Kerner is in the house. He writes in the Lane Tran. Lane, baby. Let's go. Lane, you call in right now. You go to the front of the line. Until then, let's get right back to your calls. Barbarossa is up next. What's up, Barbarossa?
Jake, Asmaniacs, what's going on?
What's up, man?
First, shout out to the Lane Tran right there. I love
the best.
Lane Tran. I also want to just give a shout out to Keith and Jay Biz. I have a few other family members too that have beaten cancer, so that's just incredible. Just doing people that have just battled through it. So doing their thing. So congratulations and just keep fighting and well done. Rob, awesome on your date. And I shook his hand a couple weeks ago. That dude has the biggest hands I've ever dude, his hands are bowling balls. Would not want to get hit by those. Want to give a happy birthday to Bobby. I know it's a day late, but happy birthday to Bobby. And I just wanted to ask you, Bobby said his breakout player is going to be Braylon Allen. Rivka was talking about the middle of the field. I kind of think Tony Adams is going to be that guy with maybe a panicked quarterback throwing the ball. You can't throw it down the sides because Sauce and Reed are there. There's somebody like Q in his face. Maybe Tony Adams will be that guy for us because he'll be getting a lot of interceptions. What do you think about that?
Great take, Barbarossa. Appreciate you, man. Great call. I can see Tony Adams being a lot better this year than people realize. More opportunities to make plays. He had one of the biggest plays of the entire season last year with the pick on Hurts at the end of the Eagle game. He's gotten better each year. I know the staff is really high on him. He's had a good camp, too, from what I've heard from folks. I don't hate that take. He could break out. There's just so many stars on the defense, so it's hard to really stand out. Like, you would have to do what Quincy did, where you really, you know what I mean? Like, Quincy was on a mission last year where, you knew it was different. Like, he was good 2 years ago, and we're like, there's a lot of potential here. And then he became, superstar great last year. His first team All-Pro. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike D's Nuts is getting in on the membership gifting. Mike, I don't know if you saw the beginning of the show, but we have for the first time ever ghost memberships. I don't even know who got any of your memberships yet, but 5 people out there are now channel members thanks to a D's Nuts explosion.
Bang! Thank you, Mike D's Nuts, for another gifted membership.
If you got a membership from Mike D's Nuts, you thank him, but I don't know who you are. Nobody does.
Is this Mike D's Nuts?
Leanie, that is Mike D's Nuts, but what we don't know, let's make it clear. That is Mike D's Nuts, but we don't know for sure, right, who got the D's Nuts memberships. We don't. And that's the bottom line. More calls right now. Jersey Jet is on the line. What's up, Jersey Jet?
This is Mike D's Nuts.
Lady, that is Mike D's Nuts, but we don't know. Let's make it clear. That is Mike D's Nuts, but we don't know for sure, right?
You're on the air, Jersey Jet.
Who got the
You'll hear this in about 10 seconds.
We don't.
I think I'm on mad delay.
More calls right now. Jersey Jet is on the line. What's up, Jersey Jet?
Here we go.
I think I'm on a mad delay. I don't know if this is my phone or my.
All right. Here's what happened. As someone who has a career in radio, it's why when you call a radio show, they say, hey, take it off speakerphone, listen, turn your radio down. You didn't turn your YouTube down. Talk to me through the StreamYard that you joined, Jersey Jet, and not the YouTube, which is delayed. Pretty good beat, though. I enjoyed the hell out of that one. Ladies and gentlemen, 10 more Ghost memberships have just been gifted by the great Felix Campos.
Felix Campos, a wonderful, wonderful guy. He gives a lot of gift memberships and loves the Jake Asman Show. Take the money.
I would tell you who got them. I have no clue. None. It's still saying we only had 15 memberships gifted, which we know is just not true. The math is not mathing. Hit the like button. There's 275 of you watching right now. All right, we're going to give it another shot here. We're going to see if our guy Jersey Jet has figured it out. What's up, Jersey Jet?
Jake, you hear me?
Yes. Wait. Hello?
Jake. Do like
Jersey
this if
Jet.
you hear me.
I hear you. Where'd the music go? Let's go. We're partying. It's Friday. Labor Day weekend, man. Most people don't work. Unlike me, I'm working Sunday and Monday. All right.
It's live.
We're live, all right.
Computer on. I got my phone on. Can you hear me? All right. I just want to give a shout out to all the Jet fans. Happy birthday, Bobby. Happy belated birthday. And it's funny. I'm watching delay on TV. And I just want to say, Reddick, bring your ass home. Excuse the language. RU won last night, so we 1-0. And I'm so excited for this season, man. I've been a Jet fan since 1969. You hear me? Since 1969. I almost gave up on them back with the fake spike, but I held in there, and I'm hanging in there, and this is the best team we had in my lifetime. JETS, Jets. T-Square, baby. We're going to be there, and y'all get a GoFundMe because I might get locked up and might need some bail money. Let's go. JETS, Jets. I'm about to get back to my mixing. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hit the beat now. This is more entertaining than anything I could say. Yeah. Boom. Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Jersey Jet. Yeah. Let's go, baby. Oh, yeah. Jersey Jet, thank you very much. That was tremendous. Find me a show that's giving you that. You won't. It doesn't exist. It's impossible. He mentioned T-Squared Social. Let's go, man. RSVP, Jet fans. We're winning week 1. We're going to win week 2 when we do another watch party at T-Squared for that game. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. RSVP. Link is in the description if you're coming out. We're going to have a blast. This guy was at our preseason watch party a couple of weeks back at T-Squared. Up next is our guy, Jake Klein. What's up, Jake?
Hey, dude. What's going on?
We're living the dream, man. What a call that last one was, huh?
Wait, who was it? I was doing work and the man was like, was it a DJ? Like a famous DJ or no?
Yeah, that's the great DJ Jersey Jet.
Sounds awesome. Yeah, his beat was good. In between notes, it's nice to do that. But I just wanted to, we're here now. So where were we at with Reddick? I mean, is this it? We're just going to pray he's going to show up week 1 and be out of shape, and he's probably going to get a hamstring pull? Is that are we just content with that now?
Yeah, I pretty much. I mean, I don't think they're going to negotiate any deal with him until something happens with an injury or something week 1 dictates the feeling they need him. Or I think at this point it's clear their stance is Joe Douglas, as he said, Reddick has to show up for any chance of them to do anything to his contract.
Well, let me ask you this, because we kind of said this mutually that he does get like a 1-year extension. Would you still want him to get that, or are you just at the point now of like just let him play the last year out and leave? Like, how do you really feel about it?
I would just let him play this year. I would redo his contract and give him incentives or give him a slight pay increase, but I'm not giving him a multi-year deal after all this.
No, so we're talking multi, not even a 1-year extension. Like if he has a great year, we wouldn't even extend him. Like, do you believe?
Well, let's see what happens. Like, I'm not ruling out him being back next year if he plays great. I'm not extending him now for multiple years. I'll give him more money this year with incentives to do that, but that's all I'm doing.
I just think it's to the point now where that's going to be his argument, where he's just going to straight up just say, look, if I miraculously get on the field and have a, let's say, Pro Bowl-ish kind of season and we helps us like get far in the playoffs or pray to God a Super Bowl, he's probably going to say next offseason, I'm taking the long-term deal or I'm going to leave. I think we're past the point of it being just a 1-year extension, because he's just going to justify again next year with Jimmy Sexton, like, when is he getting this long-term deal? I think that's what it boils down to now. I don't think he's content taking a 1-year extension. I think if we did that, we would have done it before the season started.
Right, but he has to show up to get paid. So you think he's going to skip the whole season? I don't. Eventually he'll show up and play.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I think that if Joe Douglas made the right deal, like you've said multiple times, is that if we were going to accept this as like a 2-year extension, he would have taken that already and said, this is the reality. I think his point is to say, I'm still worth this long-term deal. And even if he's going to, mope and complain and bitch about this, even if he has to play to get his paychecks, which I agree he'll do, I don't think he's going to take anything less than a long-term deal after this season. I think the idea of a 1-year extension is going to get harder and harder to do, which sucks, because I think that is the more realistic option at his age and through the Aaron Rodgers years and before we have to pay everybody. I don't know. That's just my take on it.
John Gotti with a strong take here. I'll give you a chance to respond, Jake. He goes, if we had to sacrifice to win a Super Bowl, this is our candidate. So he would sacrifice you for the Jets to win the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts?
Cool, man. Awesome.
Lane wants to know, how do you feel about the Jets?
I bleed green all the time. Even though everyone, it's funny. Everybody here thinks I'm a very sad, negative guy. I've been a fan my whole life. I just want to make this clear. I've been a fan my whole life. I watched a lot of the years, and I was a bandwagon fan and cheered for everything. I'm 36 years old, guys. We haven't went to the playoffs in 13 years. I'm not a negative person. I'm just being realistic. So I think they can win the Super Bowl. I wanted Aaron Rodgers and Hackett when everybody was screaming, wanting Zach Wilson to get another year. So let's be clear, okay? I'm a passionate fan. I went to Jake's event. I supported him. I support a lot of people on these shows. So I just want to be clear, like, and I've seen other people like, I don't know, some other people like Dano or Gator saying I'm some horrible person. Guys, get a life if you think that way, okay? I'm a passionate fan.
You're not a horrible person, but I think what works against you is your takes usually skew negative, and it looks like you're calling from like prison or a halfway house. So it kind of just furthers the narrative.
My office. This is my office if anybody wants to know. So I'm not in a prison. Okay, there you go. Everything is cleared, everybody. Okay, so I've been called like Alan. I've been called a lot of different people. I'm a very honest fan, man. Just gonna be clear. I don't think people would have taken my calls if I was such a simpleton.
I bet you're a person. You're a nice guy, Jake. I appreciate you coming out the T-Squared. Hopefully you can make it for the Monday night one in a couple weeks.
I live near Grand Central, man. I told the AW people you did a great job. I told them, I said, he really impressed me. I think you're doing a great job. I think you guys, all you content guys do a really good job. I wouldn't come on these shows and waste time. I'm starving for a Super Bowl like everybody else. I don't know if this is the energy on Labor Day weekend. Has to be need to celebrate. Okay. See, this is what I'm talking about. So wherever you are, yeah. Awesome.
Dana wants to know, will you be able to enjoy the Jets' success when it comes?
I don't know, Dana. You're kind of a coward when I kind of went on your show the other night and you just kicked me off, calling me out.
Oh, wait. Somebody needs to pull the clip here. Wait. So explain what happened here. You called into the Dano show and then what?
No, I called. I go on Midnight Mike's show. Him and Maddie. I think they're a great show. Also, they said they're going to talk to you at some point. So.
I think I'm going on with him Monday or so. I'm trying to do as many. I get asked all the time, and I try to do as many as I can. It's hard sometimes with my schedule. Midnight Mike goes live at like Saturdays at midnight, and like that's a tough one to do. But I think he's doing like a special show. It's in my calendar on Monday, so I think I'm going on with him then. Yeah,
I've been busy all summer with my new business, and like Saturdays I get to talk to him, and they've been a great show. And what is it? The Dano guy writes, "Oh, I'm the new Alan," which, by the way, I actually like Alan's takes. I was very honest with one of the guys that was it T.O., whatever he was at the event. I was very honest with him. And I just go on his show and I said, "Hey, so you called me the new Alan. Can you justify that?" And he just ended. He's like, "I wanted to hear what you have to say as a Jet fan, but he wanted to get into that." I'm like, dude, you make an accusation like that, like say it to my face. Say it to my face and prove your point, okay? Because I'm somebody that comes and brings facts to the table. I don't come on this show and do yeah, we're cool. The Jets are fun. Like, I don't do that. I'm too old for that crap. So I don't even want to make a whole point of it, but this seems like the right situation to do it.
Gator says, "I love you, Jake Klein, but you depress me beyond words."
Well, Gator, you know what? If you get to know me and talk to my patients and my friends and my reputation in New York City, you would think otherwise. So haven't gone to a playoff game in 13 years. So instead of saying everything's wonderful every day, let's be real. We have not won in 13 years. We have the longest playoff drought in sports right now. Can we change that? Sure. Let's just effing do it already. Because last year I went week 1 at the funeral in 5 seconds, it was over. How do you think I was going to feel all year? Oh, Zach Wilson's going to save us. I left that game because it was delusion. Like, Jake, I saw your chat about the post game after watching Zach Wilson in Jacksonville. Who the hell would think that was a good game? It was terrible. But people went all year. Oh, it's going to be fine. Can we please just do it?
The chat is tough for me because everyone's saying Jake this, Jake that. And sometimes I think they're talking about me, and then I realize your name is Jake. So I'm struggling with some of these here. But I will say this. I think Dano needs to call in. We need to address this head on. If you called into the show and he cut you off, he threw you off, that won't happen on this show. We'll bring the two of you together and we'll air out our grievances Festivus style, and we'll get it done.
Look, dude, you don't have to do any of that. I'm just come on here to be a caller and talk to you because I know you're a good guy. And by the way, I heard about Jake Brown's situation. It really sucked. I heard you guys heard about that, right? Yeah, I know he's moving to Philly tomorrow, and I wish him the best. And any way I could help him, I wish I could. But anyway, my point is just I'm not here for like YouTube drama. I just felt like at this moment it's like
I am though. I love the YouTube drama. In fact, I can't get enough of it. So please, Dano, call in.
He's not going to call in, so that's my point. He won't call in. Well, so anyway, look, Jake.
But if he does, will you talk to him?
If he wants to have a sensible conversation, argument, yeah, absolutely. Like it's
Dano. Let's go. Get out of your echo chamber, Dano. You want to promote your show? This is how you get people to watch it. You go head-to-head with Jake Klein right now. We need it. I will read the super chat, though. Nate writes in, anyone who gets Jake Klein to smile will get a free item in the merch store.
I'm smiling right now.
Yeah, there it is.
No, I'm a very, like, you should see me after a cocktail. I'm like, I'm happy. I'm a very happy guy. I've had a very busy summer, man. So, like, I'm trying to, like, get excited for the season and, like, get sleep. If anything, I'll use that as a semi-excuse for how I act to some people on the show.
Well, let me ask you this, then. I'll give you a chance to be positive. What is your prediction for the Jets this year? What's the record? How do they do?
I think 12 wins is possible. I'm not going to be an undefeated person. I think that's insanity. They're going to have they'll probably lose to, like, maybe Buffalo in Buffalo. Usually the Jets, they'll probably just lose or just squeak by like a really bad team. But yeah, look, they're going to come across some little losses. I just think it matters of, can they beat Patty? I mean, it's the end of the day, can they beat Patty? And I feel like with Xavier Worthy in that offense and the whole Andy Reid is the coach, all roads come through that. I actually think realistically, and I said this to my Packers friend who I watched football with every single weekend. Believe me, he had to hype up the Rodgers highlights every week that made me get through last year. I think a Packers-Jets Super Bowl is my ultimate prediction. I can really see that happening, and I think that's a real possibility just based on how Jordan Love has played, how he played in the playoffs last year. Look, and you want guys more optimism. You ready? You ready to hear this? I think right now with the way Trent Williams is not going to play, that's a huge edge for the Jets right there. That's a monstrous edge regardless of having Haason Reddick. And if they win that game, who's to say they can't start 5-0 going against Buffalo?
Hey, let's go, Chat. Give it up for Jake. Let's go. Let's go, Jersey Jet. Hit the beats. Let's go, baby. Yeah. Come on, Jersey.
I like this guy's music, man. Keep it up.
Yeah.
There
Let's go, Jersey Jet. Hit it.
I'm enjoying this now. See, I'm smiling, guys. This is fun. It's all fun. All right. It's Friday. It's Labor Day weekend. Jets football in a week. I want to see. I want to see. Yeah. I see him, man. Play it up. It's Friday. Go ahead.
I just closed the DJ app.
You just closed the app. Oh my God.
Dude, your screen is lagging beyond belief. Just letting you know that.
Mm-hmm. Any requests?
Any requests?
We'll come back to you, Jersey Jet. Bit of a delay. Anyway, Dano is not called in, so I'm backing you, Jake Klein. We're giving Dano an opportunity to go head-to-head, explain himself, air it out like gentlemen, and come to a solution, and he hasn't called in here. So if he does call back in, though, I'll put him on, and hopefully you're still watching, and we'll give you a chance to respond.
That's fair, Jake. And you said you're working all weekend, right?
I am on Mad Dog Sports Radio 4 to 7 on Sunday, and I'm doing the morning show on ESPN New York 880 on Monday. So I'm working Sunday and Monday. I will probably do a YouTube show tomorrow. Nothing Sunday, maybe something Monday night. We'll see.
This is a dumb question. The Jets postgame, LaGreca still does that or no? I haven't been on. Well, this has been a while.
No, well, the Jets aren't even on our station anymore. They left to go to the rock station. But
that's right. I forgot they did that. All right. So, I mean, are you eventually working your way, hopefully, to do maybe the Jets postgame?
I'm not. So Dan Grassa and Greg Buttle are still doing it. It's the same people that have done it. It's just different station.
Okay. I forgot the whole transition that happened, but I don't know if that's like eventually your goal at some point and basically get onto the Jets postgame. I mean, listen, YouTube's great. You get a lot of attention from this. Listen, I'll give you credit again, Jake. I was very, very impressed how many people you got on a summer Saturday preseason Grand Central game. Think about what you're about to do this coming season on a Monday night.
Well, Jake, I appreciate it, but what'd you think? I was going to throw a party and 5 people were going to show up? Have you met the Asmaniacs? I got the best listeners in the world.
Dude, I told you the Legends party was a disaster. So, and I told Jake Brown that, and he's like, "Yeah." And you met my friend Ben, who put on Instagram and everything. So, we can bring a heavy artillery of people to support you. So, don't worry, you got a lot of good things ahead of you. See,
I love it, ladies and gentlemen. See, Jake Klein. I think you flipped the chat around. I think you did a great job. You called out Dano. You stood your ground. Yeah. You gave some takes on positivity. I think this is a big win for you, Jake Klein. All right, let's build on the momentum now.
Let's win. Let's go. Just win, just like Al Davis, man. Just win, baby, please. Okay.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Jake Klein, excellent job by Jake. Oscar the Grouch said, Jake really did come through with the W at the end. Not going to lie. Rick Kent, great call from Jake Klein. TB, Jake wins. Jake Quest, Jake Klein for president. Gator, Jake Klein is the Hall of Fame of misery. Man. Where's Dano at? Dano's always watching. The one time he's not watching, I'd like to think that's why he didn't call in. Figured Dano would want to come on. Tom Ace says, Klein pulled that win out of the fire. I mean, that's tremendous. Even Hawk says Jake Klein W. Pretty good. All right, let's check in with Jersey Jet. What DJ set do we got? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, yeah. Jersey Jet. Yeah. All right. Good stuff there. Ladies and gentlemen, we say hello to Purple Belt Mike. What's up, Mike?
What up? Mowing my lawn.
You doing your best Chiefs fan impression?
Yeah, exactly. You know, the sun is down. It's not as hot as it usually is on a Saturday when I do it, so I'm taking advantage. And I got home a little early, so taking advantage. Not that anybody cares. But for week 2, I'm going to come to the event. And you mentioned it before with some breakdancing. I actually used to be a breakdancer, so we can make that happen at T Squared. Not the Ray Gun style, but I'll make it happen at the event.
I sign me up, man. I mean, you know I'm down for that.
Yep. Let's go Jets, baby. 14-3. Let's go.
14-3. Mike, from your lips to God's ears.
I gotta get back to the lawn. I'll see you.
Are you calling Monday when I fill in for Rothenberg and Rick?
Is the bear shit in the woods?
All right, my man. Purple Belt Mike, everybody. What a guy. What a gentleman. Gentleman and scholar. Lane wants to know, can the Jets win week 1? Lane, you bet your sweet ass they can. Not only can they will. All right. Never disagree with. He never angers me. He's always on point with all his takes. We say hello to Gary. Gary, what's going on?
What's up, Jake? Can the Jets win? Can they beat San Francisco week 1? You got Mike Clemens. You got a shot.
Not if Joe Douglas remains their GM, Gary.
You got Mike Clemens. You got a shot, right? A couple of things. First, you're doing a 64 man or woman bracket as the best caller, right?
No, we're going to do an Asmaniac March Madness style bracket.
All right. I think that's awesome. Because everyone likes filling out a bracket. We can have a tournament. We can have a contest. You fill out your bracket and we see.
No, the chat will vote on it. That's how we'll do. We'll do like a round a day in correlation with the NCAA tournament. The Michael K Show does Drop Madness on their show in New York. We're gonna do Asmaniac Madness basically, and we'll have the chat. We'll do the poll each show, and we'll vote in each region where things stand.
And the regions, they're going to be random, or they're going to be where you're calling in from? They're going to be randomized, like just there's 4 regions, or
just random. I don't think we can do where you're calling in from because most people would be in the East. It'd be tough to do.
You could chop it up. You could say like anything west of the Hudson is west. You know what I'm saying?
No, we'll just seed you 1 through 64. 1 through 16. We'll put 16. It together. Now, my question is, you're obviously a big part of the Asmaniac community as a caller. But a lot of people don't like your calls. So would that make you a higher seed? Like, who'd be a 1 seed? Like I'd imagine like Bobby Midnight's a 1 seed, right? But where would you be? Where would you seed yourself?
That was my next question. So like when you fight in national tournaments and stuff, right? The best, most exciting part of the tournament is the draw. And they used to do it old school, like a lottery machine. They pull your name out. How are you gonna? That was fun. We all wait to see where we were drawing. Like I'm fighting some guy from Hawaii who I don't know. This was anticlimactical, right? But like, how are you determining? Is it just random, or are you gonna take the executive authority here and kind of rank the guys yourself? Like who's a 1 seed, who's a 2 seed,
no.
Who's a 3 seed?
I want to make this clear. This idea was spawned off a comment 3 days ago, so I haven't sat down yet. But I'm going to put together a selection committee. I'll get together with the committee and we'll put together the list of the names and we'll seed the best we can.
And then like best, and this is my problem, like the MVP award. There's no standard, right? There's no like official, like the Heisman there is, but like NFL MVP or NBA first team, there's no criteria. So when you say best caller, is that open to the voter, or is there some criteria in which we're supposed to measure what we mean by best caller? Like
you're asking a lot of questions for something that's not occurring until March of 2025.
It's fair. And I'm interested in seeing how people like me and Alan and JJ do, because I think JJ is probably the best caller.
I got news for you. Alan right now is not making the tournament because Alan is now commenting on other people's shows, and he is ducking this show, and I don't know why.
Your performances in January and February decide your fate in March. So let's see where, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can get out to an early lead, but if you lose all your games in January and February, you're not going to be playing in March, so it doesn't matter. So let's see how Alan does throughout the course of the season.
Honestly, Joe Lunardi has Alan on the last four out right now, if we're being honest.
He can play himself in. He can play. You can always play yourself in.
He's one of the top seeds in the NIT. That's where he is right now.
I'll tell you who's going to do well. If I fill out my mock bracket, who's going to do well is Jake, the guy that just called in. I don't know why. I guess he's not very friendly, but neither am I, right? Like, I don't care that he's not like, friendly. He's a good caller. Like, he's like, when I fill out my bracket, he's going to do. I don't know that he's going to win the whole thing, but he's going to do quite well. Depending on the matchups.
Well,
was that the guy? That was the guy that was in the halfway house last time he called in, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know where
it's fine. I don't need to be an accessory after the fact. I don't know what goes, but that's the same guy, right?
I've received some intel from a source close to the situation about Alan that he doesn't like the direction of the show, and he's not sure if he's going to go on again. So I've got some intel on Alan. So Alan, if you're out there, you're probably watching. Call in and explain what direction of the show you don't like. That we're positive about the Jets for once, that we're not doing doom and gloom, tank for Joe Alt or Olu Fashanu just to end up with Olu anyway. Like, you tell me. You don't like the direction of the show. You don't like a show that is excited to watch the Jets end the longest playoff drought in professional sports, win 12 games, and be division champs. If you don't like the direction of the show, I'm sorry. I don't like you then. All right?
So I text with Alan every day.
No, you don't.
I mean, not every single day, but most days.
Well, why didn't you say something then?
What do you want me to say to him? He's a grown man. He's 50 years old. He can do what
why
he
doesn't he like the show? What's his problem with the show?
I didn't say he doesn't like the show. You have his contact information if you want to talk to him.
No, I don't. I don't have his contact info.
You don't have his contact information?
No, he joined the Patreon, and then he pissed off everyone in the Discord. He ended up canceling. That was it.
Almost everyone. I like him.
Of course you do.
But
he probably thinks your takes stink too. He just likes that you rile everyone up because he's a heel like you are. But you do it. I think you genuinely believe the nonsense that comes out of your mouth. Alan just likes to troll a lot of times, or he would rather be right than be wrong and the Jets be good. Meaning he wants Douglas and Saleh fired. He would rather that the Jets suck and that happened so he could say he was right than the Jets to go out there, win 12 games, go to an AFC title game, and have to deal with the fact that he was wrong, that they actually had the right people in charge running the team.
Alan, you ask Alan how the Jets are going to do. He'll say 10-7 and lose in the first round of the playoffs if they make the playoffs. So 10-7, okay, I don't think you're being a hater, but that's like the lowest possible realistic win total they can have. Right? It's the most negative position you can have before you jump the shark, right? Like if you say 9-8, you're not being serious. I say the Jets are going to go 13-4 and win the Super Bowl, but then somehow I'm this massive negative Jets fan. Like when the Jets were playing Washington and New England, I wasn't the one saying, "Oh, we should tank so we move up." I want the Jets to win. How I got associated because I don't like one guy in particular, and this happened when I told everyone Zach Wilson's going to be the worst quarterback that's ever been drafted. Oh, you're not a Jet fan, you're a hater. Like maybe I'm just being honest, right? Like. I think the Nets are complete trash. Does that make me a Nets hater? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think the Jets are going to be good this year. I think there's flaws in the Jets like there are any team, and I'm going to point those out. But when I say the Jets are going to go 13-4 and win the Super Bowl, and then Bonesy calls and he goes, "What's Gary going to do when the Jets get off to a great start and they're 10-3?" I'm going to be like, "I told you so. I picked them to be good." I don't get how I get tied up in that. When have I said like the Jets are trash?
I don't have it in me right now, Gary, but I will bring this question up because it's a good one in regard to the bracket. Envelet, is Decker factored in the seating? I think your awesome daughter might be seated higher than you.
What if I have to play my daughter? Like, what if it comes
You would get
to that?
smoked. It'd be bad. I think you would get destroyed.
It's all right. I've been letting her win at everything since she was born, so she could win at this too.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be letting her win. It'd be a bloodbath. Like it'd be like 45-3 Jets Patriots on Monday night. Although that'd be the end of your run. You wouldn't get redemption later in January.
I'm okay with that. Like, your kids are the only people in the whole world that you actually want to do better than you. So if Decker beats me, good for Decker. I'm good with that. I hope Decker wins the whole thing. I hope she runs the table.
Nate says we got to make that a first round matchup. That could be an 8-9 matchup right there. I could see it.
Well, if Decker's getting an 8 or a 9 seed, she's got to be higher seeded than that.
Well, she doesn't call as much though, but I think her calls are so good. The fact that she's an 8, let's say, that's a pretty hefty sign of respect.
I think that's fair. And I'm a
maybe
9
she might be
seed.
higher than an 8. I don't know. Maybe Decker could probably be a lot higher than an 8. I don't know. I have to sit down with my committee chair and the other members, and we'll hammer this out in March.
Oh, that's all I got for you, Jake.
All right. Well, Gary, thank you for the time. This call today was not nearly as painful as the one from the other day, so I appreciate that one. And you tell Alan, since you talked to him, that he should call in and address his concerns with me in person.
Knockouts don't matter if you land enough jabs.
What a show this has been. EJ writes in with a super chat. I love Gary, but this is my favorite Asmanism. Gary, I just can't do this today. I don't have it in me. I can't. Even that call from Gary is just like he can't help himself. Oh, I think the Jets are going to go 13-4, win the Super Bowl. Why does everyone think I'm so negative? Because all you do is crap on Joe Douglas as if he's done nothing good. That's why. 27-57 Joey or whatever he calls Douglas. I can't. I'm not doing it, Gary. You're not getting me. It's not happening. Sam checks in. Remember when Alan called in and spelled his name Alan and said, I spell it both ways? That was an all-timer. You know what's really funny? So this is how I know Alan is back. I think I was watching Matt and Jeremy on their show on the Talking Jets channel that they do. And Alan had some comment about how bad Douglas is and he did this wrong at the press conference. It was very Gary-like with the comment. And Jeremy, Jets Chaos, just went off on him. But he referred to Alan as Alan. And I'm like, no one calls him Alan. It's Alan. But because Alan likes to, have his name both ways, he allows it, which makes no sense. Insane. I don't know. Tom A says Decker is George Mason, upsets galore. Wasn't George Mason like a 15, Tom, or a 14? Decker, I think, will be higher than that. I don't know. I'll tell you what. Preseason All-Americans, right? Like the early look at who some of the 1 seeds are. I think Bobby Midnight is a 1 seed. I think Lane is a 1 seed. I think those, in my opinion, those are locks. And I want to make it clear. I'll let the committee basically decide. I'll give my thoughts, but I think those are locks as 1s. After that, I mean, you can make a case King Lowski is a 1 seed. Charles Gorman is a 1 seed. I think Charles will be a 1 seed. And then that 4th 1 seed, V-Man, I would say. Like if I'm doing the 1 seeds, it's Bobby, V-Man, Charles, and Lane. I think those would be my 4 1 seeds. Cheats fans probably a 2 seed. Although you could argue he's a 1. See, this is not easy. This is going to be a wild bracket in March. Let me tell you. NY Cursor says, I'm late to the game. What are we seeding? The Asmaniac bracket madness. And the listeners will vote. Mother effing Chew says Morgan is also higher than Gary. Shout out to Morgan, Gary's nanny. If she's in the tournament, she might be seated higher than Gary, no doubt. She's called once, but it was a legendary call. More calls right now. DJ Wheels is up
Oh,
next.
yeah.
What's up, DJ Wheels?
Yo, hey, what's going on, Jay?
Hey, man, how are you?
Hey, listen, today has been a great show, bro. I've been very entertained.
I appreciate that.
Two things. I think Reddick will be here on Monday, bro. I just feel it.
Labor Day Reddick?
Yeah, Reddick will show up on Monday. I just feel it. He's going to show up on Monday.
All right. Hey, from your lips to God's ears.
And another thing is, why don't we have a countdown for T-Squared right on the screen here? You should put a countdown on how many days, hours. You know what I mean? 'Cause I just can't wait. You gotta have a countdown so it could remind all of us as Maniac how many days are left.
Yeah, I don't know if we have the technology to do that, but I would love that, man.
Ask Gator, he should know.
See, it wouldn't be a Gator thing, though. It would be like, does the program I use to stream the show, it's called StreamYard, do they have the capabilities to allow me to put like an actual live countdown ticker? It's a great idea. I love the idea.
All right, find out, man. It'll be great just to see like 5 days left. You know what I mean? A great countdown so we could just all know. All righty. Great show, brother.
DJ Wheels, great job, man. Speaking of DJs, what's up, Jersey Jet? Jersey Jet, by the way, is playing himself into the tournament. I don't know if he's called before, but he's playing himself into the field of 64. JJ writes in, V-Man fell off. He's not a 1 seed.
Oh, man, you crazy.
I think V-Man's still a 1 seed, JJ. Nate says it'd be ironic if Haason shows up to work on Labor Day. That would be ironic. That's actually well done, sir. John Gotti says V-Man is a 6 seed after he denounced his Italian side. All right, Jersey Jet. Not much really happening here. Nice Vilma jersey, though. Appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy would be one of our top seeds. Keith Best is up next on the show. What's up, Keith?
Oh, my God. You have me on. Hold on. Let me turn the TV off. I am watching the Madden. I watched the Madden game a little while ago. I don't know how long it's been on, but I just watched it earlier when I came home. Playing the 49ers, and we won. I'm sitting here waiting to talk to you, but I want to watch the Vikings one. That's on there too. But Jake, I want to thank you for everything you have done for this fundraising thing. It's absolutely incredible. All you Asmanians, I want to thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't go down the list on GoFundMe and do it physically, but I probably can, but I got more time now. But I said a lot of bold words yesterday, like we're the best team in the NFL. I said that a lot of people are calling 12-5. I'm calling 15-2. And I stick to that. And this game next week, 35-10 Jets. And, it seems like everybody's fine. I didn't watch much of the practices or what have you today. I've been out all day doing what I got to do with chemo and stuff. But I'm very appreciative of you helping me out. There's nothing I could do to pay you back. I don't know. I don't know.
Keith, your influence on the show, your calls, that's what it's all about, man. I'm happy to help. I played a small role in just basically making the link, and the listeners did the rest. So for those who want to contribute to Keith's GoFundMe, we'll keep it open for another week or so. Then we'll make sure Keith gets the money. He accepted my invitation. I've never done a GoFundMe before, but Keith accepted the invitation to connect his bank account to it. So last I checked, Keith, we're over $2,000 raised for you, man. So I know that money's gonna be helpful for you. So I'm excited.
And a lot of that is going to get merch for the kids that want a T-shirt. I find that's more humbling than anything. I deal with a lot of the kids with cancer in Palm Beach County down here in South Florida. It doesn't pay you anything except what it pays you is the homage that you're alive today, And like Kevin Jeff says, I woke up this morning. I get up at like 6 o'clock. I think I texted you at 6:30 this morning to say thank you. But life goes on. I've had a tough 2 days of chemo, and I've been laying down all afternoon, and I have that opportunity to be able to do that. Thank you, God, because that's what it comes down to.
Hey, Keith, Lane Train just said Keith is a good caller. That's the highest of praise you can get right there from the Lane Train.
Well, Robbie said it best about a month ago. Robbie Sabo said, this is about the community. I had texted my goddad the link of the show on July 1st or 2nd, and, he's not a sports fan. And, the thing came down to is like, it's just about the community. And that's what's overwhelming here for me in my eyes. We didn't have this stuff when I grew up at your age. We went to the game physically. You had aerial TVs. You didn't have even cable TV, but yet we showed up. And, I brought up yesterday the game we were losing against the Dolphins in 80. And I think it was 15-9. And then we went down the field at the end and we scored and we beat them. I want to see games like that again. Okay. And, I'm sitting here watching the Madden shows on, I just watched the Vikings. I mean, not the Vikings, the Dolphins one earlier. And no, it wasn't. Oh, the 49ers. And we beat them. And it was the score range of what I had brought up about beating them 35-10. I think it was 38-28. I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, now I'm watching. I'm laying here. I got my TV on the Madden Vikings game for London.
I love it. You're locked in. All right, Keith, you're the best. Enjoy it. I appreciate you, man. All right, enjoy the Jets kicking ass in Madden, and then that will translate 10 days from now on Monday night. Let's go. Great call from Keith Best. Folks, the GoFundMe for Keith to support him with his medical bills, medical expenses is doing great. In fact, I just clicked the link and we have now raised in like 5 days almost $2,400. So thank you to everyone who's contributed. We have the best listeners. So if you want to support Keith, you could donate by clicking the link in the description, or I just put it in the live chat for those of you who are still watching live right now. Anyway, what a show it's been. It's been a wild one. If you got a membership, enjoy it. We don't know who got them. We'll never forget the Ghost membership show, DJ Jersey Jet, Jake Klein versus Dano. Jake Klein winning over the chat. Bobby's first call as a 56-year-old. Did I miss anything else? Nick Shine does this segment at the end of his. What did we learn? I think that's what happened. What did we learn? Crazy. Crazy. Anyway, thank you all for your support. Fun week of shows. We'll likely have something tomorrow. I don't know the time yet. I'm traveling back to Long Island. I have a wedding there tomorrow night, so I'll figure that out. And I'm on the radio Sunday on Mad Dog from 4 to 7 Eastern on Sirius XM 82. If you're in the New York area, Labor Day, I'm working Labor Day, baby. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., filling in on the morning show on ESPN New York. We're on 880 now, so 880 a.m. or the ESPN New York app is how you can listen to that show. A lot of Jet talk coming up on that one. Thank you all who tuned in. My name is Jake Asman, and in honor of Gary's call, I present Gary's Nanny, a clip from the Best of the Jake Asman Show, episode number 7, which is out now for all Asmaniacs on YouTube.
And this is my nanny, babysitter, assistant, helper lady.
Hello.
Hello.
She goes to Oklahoma.
Morgan, how long have you been a nanny to Decker?
3 years, since 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
You and Gary's wife have done a great job, because there's no way Decker turned out the way she did because of Gary. I'm just catching up on some of the comments here, and this is for everyone. You know who you are.
Calm your freaky down.
Just saying. Eric says, good thing Jake didn't put Bobby on. Could you imagine? Some of these comments, man. Jake, you don't want to read the comments. Oh, it's true. I can't even read these comments, man. You guys are terrible. Gary, what are your thoughts on everyone seemingly being a big fan of your nanny?
She's fantastic. She's the best.
She is. That she is.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the time. Gary's nanny needs her own emoji. This chat is going wild today, folks. All right. Richard Todd is watching the show in delay, says, just saw Gary's nanny. Interesting. What's so interesting about it? Top Cat says we need Scott to normalize the chat again. Lane, what's going on?
I don't think the Buffalo Bills could wear white if the Jets are wearing white. It doesn't make sense. Garrett Wilson and the Jets have a new coach. His name is going to be no more Robert Saleh. He also has to keep talking to his players going into the locker room. Attention, please. We have to do better going into tonight's game. We have to play better. We got to move the ball around. We have to focus more. And we also have to do a lot of other passing.
They need to hear that before week 1.
Yeah, and it's funny how you put me in a suit in the draft and I Wait, you did that? Or you took somebody's suit and put it on me? The pick goes to Knoble out of college. You gotta pick a blue suit for me? What am I, Anchorman? From, I looked like from that movie, the Anchorman movie. I'll let you go. Bye.
You can't teach greatness, folks.